Hello and welcome to the Astro Garden, a place for astrologers to chat all things astro. I'm your host Janessa of By Jove Astrology. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to the Astro Garden. Today is Wednesday, September 4th. The kids are back in school. That feels like the big news this week. Lots of exciting beginnings, a new school for one of them. We're starting the process of getting used to our new routine, figuring it out a little bit at a time. Everybody's getting adjusted, definitely some growing pains, but all in all, it's off to a good start. Happy to report that. What else? We had a lovely family vacation over the weekend. It was a really nice way to end the summer, check off some final bucket list items. It was a busy weekend. It felt very Virgo once we got back from there, getting all of the kids' school stuff ready, some last minute things that we missed that we needed to go back and get. As far as school supplies go, all of the prep that goes into that, on top of all of the prep, or well, not prep, but all of the cleanup after being on vacation and the mountains of laundry that many parents are probably familiar with. But yeah, it's now Mercury's day and I'm getting settled into my new routine. I really like this new thing I've been doing with these solo episodes. They seem to be resonating with people. In addition to being really helpful for myself to kind of talk out loud about some of my thoughts in like a casual, low pressure way. If you want to share a review on any of the platforms where you like to listen to this, that's so helpful to me. I'd really appreciate it. If you'd rather just send me an email with your thoughts, I'd take that too. But yeah, I think this is something I'm going to continue at least weekly for the foreseeable future. It really helps me. I've realized through the years I learn a lot as I'm speaking. I'm very much an introvert and I process a lot internally, but to speak things out loud and to talk through them also helps me understand what I'm actually trying to say when I have to communicate it to someone else. Most of the time when I'm doing these, I maybe have a couple notes, but I don't really have a script. And that feels really good to me at this point in life. Just kind of feeling it out as I go and stopping when I feel like stopping. So, yeah, thanks for listening if you've been on this journey with me. Today's big astrology news that I'm sure people are aware of is Mars going into Cancer. And, it's always a big deal when a planet changes signs, but not, it's usually not maybe that big of a deal. It's not always a top 5 topic that you're going to hear on the astrology podcast or something like that. But this one is a little special because Mars is going to be in Cancer for a really long time. There's a big retrograde involved. It's a very prolonged transit. And then I think I should be a better astrologer with my dates, but I think I saw that, Mars is going to be in Cancer and Leo. It will leave Leo like next summer. So that's only like 2 signs from where it is right this moment. Like I think it's at 29 degrees and like 50 some minutes as I'm recording this of Gemini squaring Neptune. But once it's in Cancer later today, it will be in this sign or Leo for like literally half of a year or more than half of a year, like 9 months or something crazy. So that's kind of why you might see people talking about it a lot. And Mars in Cancer in particular is in its fall. So what that means in traditional astrology is that it's the opposite of where Mars is exalted, which is Capricorn. So essentially, it kind of translates to having to do Mars things in a way that's really hard for Mars, being in like a watery sign like Cancer. Mars wants to move, it wants to go, it wants to, use its energy. Like it really is motivated, and it wants to be that like fiery moving forward energy, or like that motion, that forward moving motion that Capricorn really has. And when it's in Cancer, it's not always able to do that. it's first of all watery, so thinking of like what happens when you put fire and water together, it can kind of extinguish the flame, which doesn't translate to being very productive, which is such a key thing in the day and time that we live in. And then it's also, I think I saw Kira Ryberg talk about this in her awesome post this morning on Instagram about having to move in a way that's like the crab because it's Cancer. So moving sideways and like scooting around things versus like that forward driving motion of Capricorn. So yeah, you're gonna see our motivations and our ways that we take action probably being a lot less direct during this time. And of course, this can play out in a bunch of different ways, and it will all depend on your personal birth chart. And then we have, I think she mentioned in her post too, like we have the retrograde, which also just always throws things for a loop when we're going backwards. So there's been a lot of, I think, like fear mongering about it. I don't think it's something you should stress yourself out over. It's just to know that like that's the archetype at play, and when we're looking for our motivation and looking into how we can take action, it might not feel like the way that we are used to or the way that we want to, and the only thing we can really do is like try to go with the flow of it. And Cancer being the sign of the moon, like knowing that it might be cyclical, and that it might be more about feeling into our emotional body, our physical needs. So yeah, it might just be a little more, there might be a little more nuance needed to how we take action in the upcoming months. For me, this is happening in my 5th house. And I'm actually kind of, I hope I don't regret saying this, but I'm kind of excited about it. The 5th house is the house of, it's a house of children, and it's where Venus has her joy. So like hobbies and creative pursuits all fall into this house. So I guess the children part is like, there's always concern with that. It's like, okay, are my kids going to have injuries, or is it going to be a little bit hectic, or am I going to need to put a lot of energy into parenting and like, but being the fifth house, it's more about like the joy that kids bring. So I'm hoping that it will be more about like pursuing fun activities with them and like just having a lot more fun. But in the other aspects of it, I'm really excited about the creative pursuits. It feels like to me that this is like I'm standing on the precipice of this next stage of life. Next summer, when like shortly after Jupiter goes into Cancer, I'm going to be in like a peak period for zodiacal releasing, and this kind of feels like a precursor to that to me. I was thinking about that this morning as like this might be a little taste of what is to come, or like setting up the foundation for that next chapter that starts next summer for me. So I'm excited about that. I've been doing a lot of new stuff like this podcast. I've been writing. I am working on some longer form writing, reaching out and doing collaborations with people. And yeah, it just feels like this really exciting time of a lot of work, but like fun work. And I feel like I'm only at like the tip of the iceberg with it. Like I'm just getting started. Yeah, it's exciting to me. I'm also I just started this moon to moon class with Britton LaRue, which I think I talked about last episode. And it's really cool. I've only done like the first lesson so far. I just started on Monday evening, but I'm already like feeling the effects of it. Yeah, it just feels really powerful and like exactly what I need at this moment to like embrace myself more fully, and to like, I think with this Mars and Cancer transit, it's kind of like playing with who I am and like what these creative projects are. It feels very playful, and also just like huge in like helping me to step into my own power. So yeah, it's interesting. Like as soon as Mars enters Cancer, it will immediately trine my 0-degree Scorpio moon and my 0-degree Pisces ascendant. So it just feels like a kickstart to all of these things, the ninth house being associated with astrology and publishing and learning and studying, and then the first house being associated with me and who I am. And also obviously like the moon being, that inner self and that emotional physical body. So yeah, all in all, I'm looking forward to what this transit brings. I don't think it will be easy and sunshine all the time, but it feels like a fresh burst of energy around things that I've already started to make some progress on. I wanted to also be sure in this episode to talk about some of those projects. I have been a guest on Sonia Giri's of Celestia Astrology. She has weekly astro updates, and she has been so kind to invite me on there for the month of September. So I've gotten to sit down and record some forecasting with her. We'll be recording the second 2 weeks of September tomorrow. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's something that I want to improve on. Public speaking in general. I think this podcast is helping me with that too. And being able to summarize my astrological thoughts into like a way that translates well to other people and also is like concise, and not like just rambling. So I'm really grateful to Sonia for having me on there. She's a dear friend and a wonderful astrologer. You can find more of her work at celestiaastrology.com. I highly encourage you to check out her social media. She's got all kinds of stuff happening all the time. She's a very dedicated astrologer. And I know she's always open for readings. So definitely check her out if you haven't already. And then I'm participating as a member of the Astrologers Co-op. We have been working on this Journey Through the Decans project that started back in Aries season. And I was honored to write a piece for the Pluto retrograde back into Capricorn. So that's posted right now. I've shared it on my socials, and it's available on the Astrologers Co-op's Substack for reading. I highly encourage you to go check that out. I'm kind of proud of that one. And I'm really grateful to be part of that group. There's so many talented astrologers, and it's really cool to be a part of something that I think will evolve into, and I hope will continue to evolve into something larger than this project. So this project is to kind of generate interest and get people on the same page, and then with the plan eventually being to form more of a formal cooperative where we can share resources and collaborate in ways that allow us all to all of us to experience success. Being an astrologer and being anyone that's self-employed is not easy. Not all of, most of us have other jobs to be able to do what we love. But the thought is, if we could pool our resources, that we might be able to help start a better existence for all of us. And by resources, I mean, there's the monetary aspect and how we can get everybody like living wages, but also like the nitty gritty stuff of like health insurance for being self-employed, which if you have not looked into that is absolutely ridiculous in America, at least. So looking at ways we can like harness our collective power to empower each other and to lift each other up, and to make just living more sustainable for all of us, while also allowing us to pursue our passion for astrology. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out the Astrologers Co-op's social media. We're all on Instagram, Twitter, Substack, and there's just so many talented people in there. They're along with having writers, guest writers, different astrologers taking turns for all of the different major transits of the year, they're having a guest writer for each decan, which is every 10 days. So it's really cool. You get to just see a showcase of all of these different styles and different thoughts, and like all there, there's just such a beautiful collection of people and ideas. I really am impressed with the forethought of this project, because it's so inclusive. There's so many different voices that are getting a platform. It's been really fun to see how that's playing out. So I'm really grateful to the group, and really grateful for all of the individual astrologers who are sharing their work there, and all of the steering committee especially, who is putting in lots of unpaid time to make it all happen. So that's my big plug for the Astrologers Co-op. If that's something you're interested in being a part of, I think if you email them, they might be able to find a place for you to help out too. So yeah, that being said, Pluto went back into Capricorn earlier this week. I don't know if anyone felt that shift. I have been a little busy, admittedly, haven't been, I feel like, as in tune with the vibe as I would like to be, with school getting started. But I'm planning to check back in on that as things settle. I really think it's interesting, and I think I talked about this before, and I talk about this in the article that I wrote, but I think it's really interesting to see what's going to happen. I feel like there's been so much talk and like so much assumption about Pluto going back like into Aquarius after this as like being the revolution, or like, these sensationalized things about the age of Aquarius and being of the people. And I do see some truth to that, but I'm also very apprehensive to like just hop on that train, because I think there's something missing in that delineation. Aquarius is like, I think it gets misinterpreted a lot. It's ruled by Saturn. It's, it is a sign where there is like a person, a human representing it, like the water bearer, Ganymede. But it's also ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is not a planet I would associate with being progressive or, cutting edge or even revolutionary. Saturn is all things old and tradition. And maybe we can see revolution and progress, if we want to call it that. Maybe it's informed by looking back, and maybe that's Saturn. But yeah, I'm not all in on it being this like super revolutionary idea. Aquarius is also a fixed sign. So with the fixed signs, they are always carrying out what is started in the cardinal sign that comes before it. So whatever has started in Capricorn is being carried out by Aquarius. It's not just something new. There are always new ideas. There's always new stuff happening. But at the end of the day, it's like, Capricorn starts off the winter in the northern hemisphere, and Aquarius carries that mission out. So we need to think and get really clear on what seeds were planted in Capricorn. Were they seeds of revolution? Were they seeds of the rich getting richer? I think it can be both. And now we need to decide with this retrograde, like what seeds are we going to tend to? We've gotten a peek at them. We've gotten to see our little seedlings popping up. Sometimes it can be hard when seedlings first emerge to identify what they actually are. But this retrograde is giving us a chance to re-examine them and to think about what seedlings we want to keep. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn too, and it's where Mars is exalted. The nature of Saturn is to limit, and the nature of Mars is to sever. And I think we need to look at how those things can be tools that we use, how limiting and severing can be tools that we use to decide what seeds we are going to take with us into Pluto in Aquarius. We have a chance right now to trim back and remove any of those seedlings that we don't want to cultivate. People like gardeners, people with green thumbs, they know that when you plant seeds, usually you have a bunch of seedlings that sprout up, but you're supposed to always kind of remove them and thin them out so that the best looking ones can have more room to thrive and to grow. So I think that's kind of what this retrograde is asking of us. Let's get really clear on what we want to bring into Pluto and Aquarius. I think something that I've mentioned too that my friend Krista has played with and that I have now adopted as a practice is thinking about what I need to remove to allow that energy to flow into something new. And it's kind of like that same idea that I'm suggesting here with thinning our sprouted seedlings. Mars and Saturn are they're malefic, which means that they do harm. But can we use the gifts of them, or look at those things that they do and how they do that as a gift that also has a purpose, and can we use that to our advantage here? What are we limiting? What are we severing in order to make room for something new? We can't water and take care of all of the seedlings that have happened since 2008. What do we need to clear out and leave in Capricorn? Yeah, I think those are my thoughts for today. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you. I will be back actually on Friday this week. We have 2 episodes, because Friday I will be releasing the episode I recorded back during eclipse season this past spring with Freya Morgan. And she is just a lovely astrologer, a fellow Nightlight alumni. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And have a lovely Mercury's Day. For more information about the class with Britton LaRue, the class is called Moon to Moon, and you can find all of that information on her website at brittonlarue.com. She is still accepting enrollment at this point on September 4th. I think she mentioned it being open until mid-September, if that's something that calls to you. I can't recommend it enough. Like I said, it has been one lesson so far, and I'm already have like takeaways and things I'm integrating into my daily life. So if that's of interest to you, definitely check it out. I know she has different tiers for people that might need some assistance, and she has that all of that info right there on her Moon to Moon page at brittonlarue.com. For more information about my work, you can find me at By Jove Astro on Instagram, at By Jove Astrology on Twitter, and the best place to find me of all is at my website, byjoveastrology.com.